Cold temperatures headed out the door for now. We're counting down the days until the first day of spring. We're on your side with your weekend outlook and how warm we're expected to get.
And we're going to talk about how cold temperatures got today, plus the record-breaking temperatures we saw across Birmingham this morning.
And we're sharing the world through your eyes as we share your photos sent to us from the First Alert weather app and social media.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And so glad you are with us for Weather Extra. Speaking of social media, I posted today, we have seen it all this week, right?
We have.
We really have.
Yeah, severe weather, winter weather, and now the freezing cold. But listen, still cold tonight.
Yes, another freeze.
Yeah.
Into Saturday morning.
Okay.
Yeah, not looking
I didn't say freeze, okay?
It is good.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the cold tonight. All right, we're going to be dealing with temperatures dropping off into the 20s tonight. Be ready for a freezing cold early tomorrow morning. And then we got some showers coming back late on Sunday for parts of the area. Warmer next week and some rain possible for next week. Let's get into it here on Weather Extra. And we are talking about tonight's lows down into the low to mid 20s. Listen, very cold conditions out there. A hard freeze possible early in the day. Plan for that. Notice by 10 o'clock tonight showing 33 degrees, and the sky for tonight will be partly cloudy. Seeing a few clouds moving in. Should clear out later on. I still anticipate lots of sunshine tomorrow. Looking at those forecast lows tomorrow, 19 around Fayette and Winfield, Guin down towards Fayette, 23 in Aliceville, Tuscaloosa, 24, and there's Birmingham back into Shelby County in the 20s, and low 20s for us here in East Alabama. So crank up the heat. Another cold night, and will rise above freezing tomorrow. Afternoon highs will reach into the 50s. But as we look at Saturday morning, again, you can see those 20s, but the afternoon, this is showing around 4 o'clock, some 40s. I think we'll go a little bit warmer because we will have some sunshine, but certainly an improvement later in the day. But here's the thing, tomorrow night, we will see those temperatures back into the freezing range. So we're going to be talking about Sunday night, maybe a little bit of rain, especially down into the southern part of the state. We'll show you more specifics on that, and warmer weather coming up in the 10-day forecast.
Well, from this weekend storm, the National Weather Service confirming another tornado after it touched down in West Alabama. It was confirmed as an EF0 tornado in Moundville near Green Ridge Road and ending just west of Highway 69 near Hill County High School. The tornado causing significant damage on Maple Leaf Lane when it blew a large tree into a home. This now brings the total of tornadoes to have hit Alabama last weekend to 11. And as we continue to talk about the bitter cold that's been around this week, meteorologist Megan Thomas joins us now with the numbers from today and the record-breaking temperatures across Birmingham.
We talked about it yesterday on Weather Extra, and we did it today. We broke the record low for Birmingham. We got down to 17 degrees this morning. The old record was 18, set back in 1963. Now notice Tuscaloosa at 21, Anniston at 18 this morning. Dangerously close to those record lows. We did not break them. We did not tie them in Tuscaloosa and Anniston. The old record was 20. Set back in 1959. Anniston's record was 17 from 1959. They got to 18. Tuscaloosa got to 21. Now Birmingham, write it down. February 21st, 2025 is now in the record books for the coldest morning.
Yeah, and we were definitely feeling that cold. Whether we had broken a record or not, I think we can all not deny that it has been ridiculously cold recently. So let's check in with our weather watchers. You can see in Oxford, Jerry Peak checking in at 17 degrees this morning for a low temperature. Also 17 degrees in Trussville from Tyler Young, and 17 degrees in Oakman from Sarah Porter. And also some more teens across the area from Jemison, Talladega, Lamar County, Rimlap. But holding on to 22 in West Blockton from Tony Siegel. So our weather watchers always grateful for you all, and we will continue to track those chilly temperatures going into tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Lauren. Taking you across the country now to places cleaning up after this week's snow event. Parts of Tennessee having a tough time clearing those roads, and this is due to the destruction left from Hurricane Helene. Take a look at this video. This is from one of the counties out there. Superintendent Terry Haynes says his crews began salting the roads ahead of the snow, but says many roads damaged by Helene will make it difficult to plow, since large sections remain unpaved. This also means that many of the roads are getting more wear and tear from the heavy machinery and extra traffic.
If it snows deep, it's going to take some guys that know where that road's at, they'll be able to lift their blade up and get over it and go over that. So if they don't, they're just going to have a big, huge pile of gravel pushed up in front of them.
And that's in Unicoi County there. The temperatures in that area were warmer today than earlier in the week. And check this out. A 79-year-old man was rescued from a ski area in Montana after spending the night in, get this, a tree. The missing skier was last seen at the top of Emmons Run at Blacktail Mountain ski area. A private helicopter had to rescue him. This is a helicopter rescue company. They were able to locate the skier when they spotted him signaling for help. He said he went off trail and wound up spending the night in the tree using pine boughs and a small fire to keep him warm. Can you imagine? Absolutely crazy. Well, let's take a look now at that weekend planner because, hey, for this weekend, we're actually going to be warming up. I would say cold for the mornings, yes, but the afternoons not too bad. So if you're looking for snow this weekend, you're not going to find it. We do have another freeze tonight, but you can expect afternoon highs Saturday, low 50s, mid to upper 50s Sunday, maybe a passing shower, mainly areas to the south central Alabama and areas further south of us. But nonetheless, plenty of sunshine and a great weekend to make some outdoor plans for those afternoon hours. But don't go anywhere. In 30 seconds, we are counting down the days until the first day of spring, plus taking you to the skies as we travel with the hurricane hunters on their newest mission. We'll be right back. I sounded funny. Oh, okay. Here we go. Mic check, mic check, mic check. It's on the outside now. I think.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan here. I know it has been mighty chilly, as Megan was telling us. We actually broke some record temperatures with this most recent Arctic blast. So when in the world is spring going to get here? Well, technically, meteorological spring starts in less than 10 days because remember, as meteorologists, we go by months. So we're talking March, April, May. But astronomical spring begins in 27 days. And remember, that's the spring equinox. So typically when you have an equinox in spring and fall, marks that transition to the spring and fall seasons, that's when each place on Earth has about roughly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. But hey, as we get closer to spring, we're going to keep on gaining daylight, and daylight saving time is going to be just around the corner as well. So we've been talking about that weekend forecast. Let's kind of look at the bigger picture across the U.S. As we go into Saturday, we mentioned it's still going to be cold, right? So we've got two jet streams that we're working with. The polar jet stream, it did manage to dip to the south and really help to bring us that cold air outbreak over the past couple of days. But you'll see what's going to begin to take over as we get into the weekend, that subtropical jet stream. It's going to be more of a zonal flow in the atmosphere, where as you go higher up in the atmosphere, winds are moving from west to east. And so basically what's happening is eventually that can help to make things milder. But for now, we've still got a really cold pocket of air here at the surface. So gradually that air mass that is sitting here over Alabama is going to modify. And that's what we're tracking, that warm up going into next week. But in the meantime, we still got to get through some cold temperatures to start tomorrow morning. But we've been talking about rain chances too. So we talked about that little dip in the jet stream, that southern branch of the jet stream. What's going to be happening is that moisture is going to be moving along the Gulf Coast. And so this is going to help a system to develop along the Gulf that's going to be bringing some moisture to our south on Saturday. You can see here, as you see that moisture flow coming in, that will help a system to eventually bring more rainfall along the Gulf Coast. The question has been, okay, Sunday, could we end up seeing rain here in central Alabama? Well, for the most part, it looks like, as we go back to that graphic for Sunday, that the best chance of rain is going to be across South Alabama. Oftentimes what can happen is when you get a big massive rain to develop along the Gulf Coast, that can end up limiting rain chances for us in central Alabama because all of that rain and that moisture, that inflow gets locked up closer to the water. And so for us, it may end up just being some isolated showers at best, Tania.
We're going to take you above the skies now to the newest mission by the hurricane hunters. They're in California as they prepare to study atmospheric rivers. Kayla Mowler has the latest.
I'm in a C-130, but it's not just any C-130. It's a WC-130 used to hunt hurricanes. But over the next few days, it's going to be used to hunt atmospheric rivers. A partnership spanning across several agencies, Yuba Water, the Department of Water Resources, the U.S. Air Force, and Scripps Institute of Oceanography, is working to better understand atmospheric rivers.
The one thing with California is that it's really the land of extremes. It's either feast or famine. The variability from year to year in terms of the amount of precipitation that falls is the most variable compared to anywhere else in the United States.
Too many or too few atmospheric rivers can be a determining factor of flood or drought. So researchers are learning more about them to help with the forecasts and optimize water management.
This place is a very good location for us to, one, the proximity of the atmospheric rivers for us, and to just how the weather is here. We can easily come in and come out.
Atmospheric river research flights are typically done from January through March. Teams are flying out from Mather Air Base to the Pacific Ocean.
Because the Pacific Ocean is very data sparse, and these are really the best way to go out and observe these storms. And if these forecast models don't know what's going on over the Pacific Ocean, they're not going to forecast them well as they're making landfall over California.
During a typical mission, there are about 25 dropsondes that they shoot through here to collect data about the storm.
It has a parachute on it, and as it drops through the storm, it collects a bunch of data, and it allows them to draw a vertical map of the storm.
If we've had a couple atmospheric rivers that aren't really producing a lot of rain, then they try to conserve more water in certain areas. But if it is going to be a very heavy rainfall event, then maybe they might be talking about releasing water.
All of this data collected from the flights are sent back to weather centers to compile and compare, ultimately improving storm predictability and forecasting.
In a warming climate, we're seeing that variability is becoming even more so, and California is becoming even more dependent on these atmospheric rivers to provide the water necessary for agriculture and drinking and other uses across the state.
Very interesting story there. Well, we're going to take you a little further beyond the atmosphere now. The odds of an asteroid hitting the Earth in 7 years, hey, this is good news for us. It's decreased. You may have, Lauren said, yay. You may have heard of the YR4 asteroid that had a 3.1% chance of hitting Earth, making it the riskiest asteroid ever detected. But as NASA continues to monitor it, the threat has decreased to 0.2%. The space rock is about 130 to 300 feet, which would cause local damage if it were to strike the Earth. Currently, though, there are about 37,000 large space rocks known to astronomers. YR4 is the only one with any chance of hitting the Earth.
Our blessings tonight, Tania. Well, don't go anywhere. We continue to talk about the dry weekend ahead, but also take you on a Weather Extra field trip to a farm where we bring the spirit of love to animals in need. We'll be right back.
And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra for tonight. By 9 o'clock, we're going to be dropping into the freezing range in a lot of areas. The temperatures back in the 20s tonight, so crank up that heat. It is going to be a cold Saturday morning out there. Maybe you have a 5K or a walk early tomorrow morning. May want to wait and let it warm up a little bit, but those temperatures will be rising into the 50s for the afternoon. Not too bad later in the day, so be not a bad afternoon to head out to the park with some sunshine mixing in. Tomorrow night, we'll see those lows back into the 20s. And more clouds at times moving through this weekend, especially on Sunday. But notice Sunday morning at 6 o'clock back into the 20s again, so some really cold weather. Speaking of clouds, this is a current satellite view from space, and the infrared satellite showing some thin clouds moving through in some places out there. No snow flurries, though, trying to surprise us tonight. It's been a week of everything, right? We've had severe weather, we've had snow, we've had extreme cold, and over the past 7 days, a lot of changes, but just some clouds that are moving in. Now, Sunday, these clouds will really thicken up, I think, by the evening, and we could see a little bit of rain. Of course, the cold, the big story going into the weekend, but that milder air will eventually make a return. Went with lows again in the 20s tomorrow morning, but you can see by 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, especially if we get a good supply of sunshine, we'll see those afternoon highs rising into the 50s. So let's talk about the frost and freeze forecast. Well, we've been in the polar plunge again, and you can see finally we climb out of that. Now, Monday morning, a low of 32. Now, we could see a few showers late Sunday night and early Monday. I'm not expecting ice. That 32 degrees, I think where we see that, is going to mostly be dry. Now, further south, temperatures may bottom out just above that where we see some of those scattered showers. And we're still seeing the possibility. I want to show you some of this model data here into Sunday. Notice a dry start, but some of our medium range models and even the global data coming in showing a better chance. Some of these showers here to the south. You can see right there, even shows into Monday morning, there's 6 o'clock, perhaps over southwest areas, maybe just south of I-20. So we're going to keep a 30% chance for a shower in the forecast. Not a lot of rain. Certainly wouldn't cancel any plans Sunday. This would be Sunday night and into early Monday. Wind speeds for Saturday out of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So maybe if you are thinking about maybe heading out on the lake tomorrow afternoon, it's still going to be very cold out there, but not super windy. As you can see, those afternoon wind speeds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. 10-day forecast, we do have that small chance of a shower Sunday night into early Monday, back to 71 on Wednesday. That hashtag weather whiplash into the middle of next week. And then it looks like towards the end of next week, around the weekend, as we bring in meteorologist Tania Michelle again. Tania, you and I were talking about maybe next Wednesday and a Thursday, a chance for a shower, but possibly some rain and storms next weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking at early March. It looks like there's another system that could bring us some wet weather. So let's go beyond the 7-day here and let's really start to break down what we're seeing. First of all, we're going to start off with this temperature outlook across the United States. Above average temperatures for the far western states and southwestern states, New Mexico, over towards Nevada. It looks like more below average conditions for the Northeast, but that could include us here as we bring in the first few days of March across parts of central Alabama. So more cold weather, any more freezes for the start of the next month? Maybe. What about our precipitation outlook? It looks like we're trending more above average as far as our rainfall as we bring in the first 7 days of the month of March. So that's just something to keep in mind and to pay very close attention to. One thing I wanted to show you here was that as we break down those next rain chances and as we walk through this, you'll be able to see that there are a few systems that could bring us some more wet weather as we bring in those March days. Okay, this is March 3rd, and this is one of the systems that Wes was talking about. Could see some rain and storms. That's not next weekend, but the following weekend. And then we could also see some, or that's not this weekend, that's the following weekend. We could also see some rain showers around as we bring in later March. I'm talking about like maybe March 8th, 9th. I saw some clouds building in. There might be a shower included in that, but nothing too crazy. So yes, it's showing above average precipitation, but March, hey, it might bring us some dry and more sunny days. But the big question is, could we see any more freezes? As of right now, none of our models are hinting at far below freezing conditions. I'm not seeing any teens and 20s. I do see some chilly mornings and some milder afternoons. We're talking about chilly mornings in the 40s and then some mild afternoons in the 50s and maybe some 60s. But that's beyond the 7-day, and you know anything beyond the 7-day can and possibly will change. But meteorologist Lauren Linehan has more right now on the month of February.
Well, Tania, February may be the month of love, but one animal sanctuary down in Shelby County celebrates love 365 days a year. We spoke with a couple who founded a place for Annie, a refuge for misfit animals to live out the rest of their lives with unconditional peace and comfort.
It just became clear that that was something that we were called to do. We began to adopt the deaf, the blind, hospice, even a partially paralyzed dog, and we moved out here because we wanted to create a space, a sanctuary.
Nestled away on a farm in Wilsonville, a place for Annie is home to 17 residents, a cast of characters ranging from Sir Elton John to Biggie Smalls. A bucolic refuge for shelter outcasts.
We take animals that nobody else wants and we turn them into animals that everybody would be so proud to have.
None of the animals are up for adoption since the place for Annie is a sanctuary. Instead, it serves as a makeshift senior living facility for dogs, horses, and donkeys alike. But age is truly just a number for the Clarity family.
When people become elderly, we worry about where they're going to stay and making those last years the best years because they need the most help. And we feel the same with animals.
One of their more memorable short-term residents was the sanctuary's namesake herself, a Cocker Spaniel named Annie.
And she was a wonderful dog, and we took her in. She was an amputee. We had her for a short period of time.
22 months.
22 months, and she stole Georgia's heart. And it was a short time with us, but it really left an impression. And that's the reason we named it, because Annie, she had a place with us, and so we named it A Place for Annie.
Another former resident, a horse named Apollo, came to the sanctuary for the possibility of helping, quote, teach the donkeys some manners.
He came to us at 37 and he died shortly before he was 39, and he was my first horse and I just loved him so much. And when he passed away, we wanted him to be here and we wanted people to remember him long after we were gone.
Each outcast makes an impact. Beatrice, one of Georgia's self-proclaimed favorites, even had a book written about her own greater purpose.
Beatrice alerted us to a barn fire one night, then it saved property and actual people as well, and we turned it into something that children could read, or you could read to your child, to just teach them about don't judge a book by its cover. Beatrice, she's a typical pit bull that can be scary looking if you don't know what you're looking for, but she's really a hero.
The Claritys believe Beatrice's book is an opportunity to teach younger generations about compassion for animals, because the road to A Place for Annie is unfortunately not paved with sunshine and rainbows.
We're in a shelter crisis in this nation and in this state, and the only way out of it is to spay and neuter and adopt. That is it. There is no other way out of it. Not everybody can adopt an animal. Not everyone can donate to the shelter, but there is always something you can do for your area shelter, and your area shelter is only a mirror image of your community.
So the Claritys say they will devote the rest of their lives to providing the shelter misfits a warm, safe, and loving home. And no matter how long the animals live at A Place for Annie, one thing is for certain.
We can't change the past, but we can guide the future. And hope springs eternal here, and it really does.
Oh boy, I hope you all had your tissues for that one. Thank you so much to the Claritys. And most of the animals at A Place for Annie are in their senior years. One particular exception though is this little fella right there, Apollo 2. He was born to a donkey that the Claritys actually took in and rescued. So in addition to the typical senior living stuff and care they normally have to do, the Claritys and Apollo 2's mom have been adjusting to raising a teenager. We'll be right back with a final check on your forecast. And before we send you off into your Friday evening, some weather photos. Check out this icicle in Moulton.
That thing's huge.
Yeah, goodness, that's a rough one.
Watch out.
And then look at that.
Oh, she took a good picture. You can literally see the snowflakes. This is from Kendra Poe. How beautiful.
I look at that. I mean,
How
just
cute.
incredible. These snowflake photos that were zoomed in and just the wonder of nature, right? I mean, snow crystals are so complex and make such a beautiful photo. And this was a lovely view from Nathan Burks, our First Alert weather watcher. Sunset on a flight while flying into Chicago, a connection there. Nathan's back home in Alabama. He left, he was in Key West and was sending us some photos, and I'm like, you need to go back to Key West, a little bit warmer there.
Yeah, man. Also, next time you go to Key West, give us a call.
Hit us up.
Yeah.
So Nathan's one of our weather watchers, and he sends in those pictures and what severe weather reports. We certainly appreciate our weather watchers. I want to give a big shout out to Alvin Finch, also a guest in our in the studio right now. So we have a live studio audience here right now.
Yeah, for once, it's nice to actually have, you know, some life in the studio.
Yeah, that's right. And listen, some warmer weather for tomorrow afternoon. It looks like those temperatures rising into the 50s. Well, hey,
Alvin!
There he is. We'll have more tonight. We'll see you at 9 o'clock on First at 9. See you then.
Yay, you got in.